Hello. So today we are going to talk about why it is not only important to be yourself, it is absolutely essential to be so. And we're going to get into this right now. Now, everywhere that you look in society, you'll find that so many people are afraid to live authentically. We create these false personas and these illusions so that we can fit in and be accepted by others, but we're too afraid to live our own authentic lives. But where does this come from? Why are we so afraid to be ourselves and to be authentic? Where does that fear come from? Well, if we scroll way back through time into the primitive age or the Stone Age, we can get our answers. You see, in these primitive times, it was essential that we were accepted by the tribe, because if we weren't, that meant certain death, right? You know, if we weren't a part of the tribe, if we were ostracized, if we were weird or different, if we stood out in any way, then we were out and we were gone and we were dead. So that fear, that primitive fear, is still hardwired in our reptilian brain. And unfortunately, our reptilian brain has not grown much since then. So we still have that primitive fear within us. We've learned that we need to act a certain way or be a certain way to be accepted. And so that's what we do. We create these personas and we wear these masks so that we can be accepted. We are all conditioned as a society and as individuals to not rock the boat. Don't stand out. Don't speak out, you know? But this is at the expense of your authentic self. So here's an interesting fact. In a book written by a woman who was working with the dying, she is a hospice nurse, and she wrote this book called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. And what was interesting is the number one regret was that they had wished they had lived their life according to their own truth of who they were, that they regretted that they kept that hidden and that they just followed the expectations of their families or society or the people around them. So they wished that they had lived that authentic life. So do you want to be like them on your deathbed down the road and feeling that regret and wondering, wow, what would life have been like if I had been true to myself and lived my authentic life? What would life have been like if you had been willing to be brave enough to just be yourself? So what is your authentic self, and what does it mean to live an authentic life anyway? Well, if you watched my last video on the higher self, or if you haven't, I'm going to put the link up here and down below, so check that out. But what it talks about is that you are an energy being and you are having a human experience. So as that energy being, there is a longing within that part of yourself that is your true nature that wants to come out and express itself. And it's come here on this physical plane, in this physical world, to express that true nature. But we often don't listen to it because we are afraid. We are afraid to rock the boat. We are afraid to not be accepted, and we are afraid to not be loved. This primitive brain of ours triggers those fears of acceptance and survival. But this need to follow that primitive brain also conflicts with your authentic nature, the true part of yourself that also wants to be expressed. It's a struggle between the primitive fears of the reptilian brain and the higher authentic self. So which is best? Well, let's consider the polygraph test for an example. Now, in this polygraph test, how do they know when someone's lying? Well, they know because of a stress response, that when somebody lies, it triggers a stress response in the body, okay? So when you lie, you feel stressed, okay? Now imagine if your whole entire life was a lie. How stressful would that be? Your whole life, right? That's a lot of stress. And that does contribute to your lack of health and well-being. So it also contributes to long-term diseases and things like that. But being authentic, being your true self, is actually a relief. It feels good. Now, it's certainly scary at first. Yeah, that's true. But after a while, it snowballs into this great feeling where you're finally feeling free about being who you truly are. In fact, studies have shown that being authentic and living an authentic life actually benefits your health and well-being. So authentic connections with people actually builds your health and builds what's called your vagus nerve. And your vagus nerve helps to control your parasympathetic nervous system, and that's your relaxation response. People with high vagal tone are usually happier, less stressed, and just feel better all the way around. They usually also are less likely to suffer from depression. Studies show that people who live authentically live happier, fuller, healthier lives. So when you live from a place of authenticity, fully living who you are and expressing yourself, you will feel that sense of freedom as you're just opening up and allowing yourself to be. But how do we do that? How do we live authentically? And how do we find that part of ourselves? We do this by listening to our soul's yearnings, that we have our authentic self inside of us, and that part of ourself is yearning to come out and yearning to be expressed. So all we have to do is listen. We need to learn to let our authentic selves shine. Instead of listening to our fears and our insecurities and all those aspects of our primitive brain, instead listen to that higher brain aspect of ourself and that inner yearning, that core self that wants to come out. Listen to that self. Yes, it can be super scary to just be unabashedly yourself and to just revel and shine in who you are instead of listening to those fears, and fitting in with society and society's expectations of you. Those expectations of getting a job and getting married and having 2.5 kids and then retiring and all that good stuff. Those expectations, or maybe the family expectations of you need to get the family job that's been passed down generation after generation. Those kinds of expectations of you. But it's essential for your health and well-being to be true to who you are. Not just for health reasons, but also because you have a gift. You have something to share inside of you that needs to come out, that is a part of your purpose of why you're here. And if you are conforming to those societal or familial pressures, then you're not sharing your gift of who you are. So stop trying to be something that you're not. Stop trying to please others and go within and find that true nature of who you are, because that true nature of who you are is the best. And you are the only you, and you have come here to be that you and to share that you, and you have so many special gifts to share with the world. So that is so important. So go within and find the true you and let that you shine. And the cool thing about that is that when you do that, you give others permission to do it too. Isn't that cool? Don't waste this life. Don't end up on your deathbed sick and tired and wishing that you had done something different. Instead, live your authentic life. Let that authenticity shine forth and come from you. Just be you. Will it be scary at times? Yeah, definitely. Will some people think you're weird? Yeah, probably. But that's okay. But what's more important? When you live a life authentically, then you're happier, you're healthier, you have better relationships with people, you're living your purpose and your passion, and you feel good. And like I said, you're also giving permission for others to do the same. And that's such a valuable gift too. So let your freak flag fly, so to speak, and just be you, 'cause being you is the best thing that you can do. Be unabashedly you. It's why you're here. So thank you for watching my video. I hope that this has been of benefit to you, and if it has, it would mean a lot to me if you liked and subscribed, because that would let me know that you like my content, and it would also support my channel and help my channel to grow. Anyway, thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day.